It seems like with each passing hour, the facts get more and more inconvenient for senior folks over at the IRS. Yesterday, it was reported that the agency may have gone after a ministry founded by Billy Graham. We also learned that the very same IRS office that admitted to harassing conservative groups also released 9 pending applications for tax-exempt status to the liberal group ProPublica. How did we find out? Well, ProPublica revealed it. Basically, all we've gotten from the IRS, on the other hand, is an attempt to scapegoat some folks out in Cincinnati in a laughable attempt to move past this whole issue with a ridiculous op-ed claiming, quote, mistakes were made. Well, most folks don't think that ignoring the Constitution is simply a mistake. I like the fact that one group the IRS targeted when asked by the agency to provide reading materials related to their mission simply mailed them a copy of the Constitution. And today I'd like to encourage every group that feels like it's been unjustly targeted to do the same thing. Maybe just underline the First Amendment before you put it in the envelope, because that's what this is all about. But getting back to the latest news, the leak to ProPublica, let's be clear about what that means. The IRS is forbidden from providing that kind of information about groups that haven't been approved. It's a bright line prohibition that even the lowest staffers at IRS should surely know about. And we intend to find out the relevant details. Yesterday, I said the administration needs to fully comply with all congressional inquiries on the matter. This ProPublica leak will unquestionably be one of them. The administration needs to make witnesses available to testify on this and on any other incident of targeting the administration's ideological opponents, and to resist the temptation to stonewall or obfuscate what took place. Today, other Senate Republicans are joining me in this call. More than 40 members have signed a letter demanding as much of the president. If the president's truly concerned about this issue, as he claims, he'll work openly and transparently with us to get to the bottom of what happened. And people will be held accountable. These allegations are very serious. That there was an effort to bring the power of the federal government to bear on those the administration disagreed with in the middle of a heated national election. It actually could be criminal. And we're determined to get the answers. Again, let's not forget that we wouldn't know any of this. We wouldn't know any of this if congressional Republicans hadn't demanded better answers than the ones we were getting from this administration. When I and several of my colleagues wrote to the IRS last year, seeking clarification of allegations that they were harassing conservative groups, the response we got was essentially, nothing to see here, move along. When I pressed the issue in a speech last June, the left either ridiculed the suggestion or ignored it. When IRS officials were asked point blank in congressional hearings whether this was happening, they said it wasn't. Well, of course, it turned out it was. It did happen. And by the way, you know who didn't have any trouble getting information out of the IRS? Who didn't have any trouble at all getting information out of the IRS? ProPublica, which was pushing an ideological agenda friendly to this administration. When they asked the IRS for information, they got it in 12 days. 12 days. Some of it wasn't supposed to be released. When I asked the IRS for information, when did I get it? ProPublica got it in 12 days. When did I get it? Only when it was coming out anyway in an IG report. So there are a lot of unanswered questions that remain. Which officials knew about the scandal? When did they know about it? What did they do when they found out? Did they deliberately mislead Congress and the American people? The number of officials involved continues to grow. And now with this revelation from ProPublica, it appears that the campaign against conservative groups was of a broader scope than originally admitted. So it's no surprise that the American people are demanding more than just some half-hearted apology made under duress. That isn't going to cut it. As an activist from one of the targeted groups in Kentucky said yesterday, apology not accepted. There are many questions that still need to be answered. There are many that remain unanswered. My constituent was absolutely right. Mr. President, I'm going to ask consent that the letter signed by my colleagues appear in the record at this point.